February 19th, 1943, 2:47 a.m., Mid-Atlantic, Captain Thomas Brownell watches a man burn alive. The sailor is 200 yards away, trapped in flaming oil from SS Expositor. The tanker exploded 6 minutes ago, turning night into day for 30 seconds. Now only the burning oil remains. Brownell can hear him screaming, high-pitched, desperate. The sound a human being makes when skin melts off bones. The sailor stops screaming at 41 seconds. Brownell counted. He cannot launch lifeboats, cannot stop. The U-boats are still out there. 11 men died like this tonight. Brownell watched every single one. This is February 1943. This is normal. 1,200 miles away, a different man is counting. Staff Sergeant Patrick Howe vomits into a bucket on a troop transport. He is 24, seasick for 6 days straight. He hates everything about being on a ship. What Howe does not know is that in 9 days he will develop a weapon that kills 89 German submarines in 90 days. With a pencil. Convoy ONS 166 started with 49 ships. By dawn, only 35 remain. 627 men dead. Another 180 in lifeboats, racing hypothermia. Water temperature, 34 degrees Fahrenheit. Survival time, 15 minutes. The U-boats are already gone. They will reload in France. Hunt again in 2 weeks. This is February 1943. Western approaches command, Liverpool. Admiral Sir Max Horton stands before a cathedral-sized map. Red markers for merchant ships. Black for U-boats. Too many black markers. Captain Morshead approaches with a folder. The February numbers, sir. How many ships? 108 sunk. 23 damaged beyond repair. 560,000 tons lost. And our kills? 7 U-boats. 3 probables. Horton does the math instantly. Germans build 20 to 25 new submarines monthly. They have 400 operational. Allies kill fewer than 10 per month. The enemy replaces losses faster than we inflict them. Tell the Prime Minister the truth, Horton says. If we do not change something fundamental by May, we will lose this war, not a battle. The entire war. Howe knows none of this. He is seasick, trying not to vomit. His cabin mate, Lieutenant Fisher, watches. You know we are losing the war out here, right? Germans are sinking ships faster than we can build them. If this continues 6 months, Britain starves. Do we have a plan? Same plan for 2 years. More escorts, better sonar. It is not working. Fisher's voice drops. My brother is a merchant marine, sailed 3 weeks ago. I have not heard from him since. Howe has a brother too. Michael, boatswain on a Liberty ship. His last letter. Do not worry about me, Patty. I am careful. I will see you when this is over. Howe has not heard from him since. He pulls out a manual. Introduction to Naval Convoy Operations. Standard procedure. Follow great circle routes. Shortest distance. Mathematically optimal. Fuel efficient. Predictable. Howe thinks about his MIT coursework. Game theory. Probability. If convoys always take the shortest route, anyone who knows departure and destination can calculate position. The Germans just wait. We are not being hunted, Howe thinks. We are walking into traps we built ourselves. March 1st, 1943. Liverpool. The transport docks. Howe staggers off on unsteady legs. Travel orders. Train to London. Report to Admiralty Citadel. Section 8. London at night is a dark maze. Blackout regulations. No streetlights. Howe finds the Admiralty near Trafalgar Square. Guards check his papers 3 times. They escort him underground. 3 flights down into reinforced corridors. The Citadel. Operational nerve centre of the Royal Navy. Bomb-proof. Section 8 is behind an unmarked door. Captain George Creary greets him. Welcome to Operational Research Section. The department nobody understands, and most wish did not exist. What do we do here, sir? We solve problems the Navy cannot solve. The Admiralty fights U-boats using tactics from the last war. Those tactics are not working. Our job is to figure out why. Creary shows him a desk covered with folders. ONS 166, HX227, SC121, convoy designations, after action reports from 6 months, departure time, route, losses, every piece of data we collect. What am I supposed to do? Find patterns. We think U-boats are systematically exploiting weaknesses. Your job is to identify them. How long do I have? Admiral Horton told the Prime Minister we have until May. Today is March 1st. 8 weeks. And if I do not find anything, then a lot of men die, more than are already dying. Howe opens the first folder. Convoy ONS 166, February 17th, 49 ships. Standard route, first U-boat contact, February 19th, 14 ships sunk, 627 dead. He works through the night. Each folder is another convoy that did not come back. Each has names, ship names, captain names, sometimes crew manifests. He finds SC118, one ship listed SS Benjamin Harrison, Captain Michael Howe. Patrick's hands stop, his brother. The report says SC118 lost 13 ships. Benjamin Harrison survived, but 13 others did not. Michael sailed through a battle that killed hundreds. Patrick closes the folder. His hands shake, not from fear, from rage. Cold rage at a system that sends men into predictable death zones. By dawn, he has reviewed 52 convoy reports. He has found something. Captain Creary arrives at 600, finds Howe surrounded by paper, eyes bloodshot. Did you sleep? No, sir. What did you find? Howe stands swaying. I need weather reports, historical data for 6 months. Creary nods. Why? Howe does not answer. Returns 20 minutes later with weather data. Cross-references with convoy routes. 30 minutes later, he looks up. His eyes are wide. Sir, I need to show you something. Howe spreads a chart. This shows every U-boat contact for 3 months. See how they cluster? All along standard routes. Now look at this. He pulls another chart. Convoys forced off standard routes by weather. They lost 63% fewer ships. That could be weather. Rough seas make attacks difficult. I checked. The diverted convoys did not experience worse weather. They just sailed through different water. The U-boats were not where they expected us. What are you suggesting? The U-boats know where we will be because we are predictable. Every convoy follows great circle routes, same paths. The Germans position submarines and wait. Howe taps the chart. If we make routes unpredictable, if we vary them using calculated probability, the U-boats waste time searching empty ocean. You are proposing we deliberately sail longer routes to avoid submarines we cannot see. I am proposing we use mathematics to calculate routes with lowest contact probability. If we cut losses by 30%, we save hundreds of ships, thousands of lives. If you are wrong, you kill hundreds of men. If we do nothing, hundreds definitely die. My brother sails those convoys, sir. Every week I do not get a letter. I imagine him in the water. Freezing, drowning. Write it up. 14 pages maximum. 48 hours. Howe works for 60 hours straight. Fills 6 notebooks with equations. Probability distributions. Game theory. On the 3rd day, exhausted, he knocks a pencil off the desk. It rolls across a map. Stops southwest of Iceland. Howe stares. That area has no recorded U-boat contacts in 3 months. None. He checks convoy records. 3 convoys passed through that area. All survived with minimal losses. But the area is 150 miles south of standard routes. The U-boats are not patrolling the entire Atlantic. They patrol routes they know convoys use. There are empty zones. What if we deliberately went there? The mathematics suddenly makes sense. He does not need to predict where every U-boat is. Just calculate where they are not. Find empty spaces. Route convoys through them. He finishes at 0400, March 4th. 14 pages, 6 charts, 21 equations. Conclusion: if convoy routes are calculated using inverse probability, expected losses will decrease 40 to 60% within 30 days. Chapter 2. The algorithm that admirals called suicide, March 5, 1943. 1800 hours. Section 8. Patrick Howe stares at a blank map of the North Atlantic. In 3 days, convoy HX229A departs New York. 38 ships, 300 men. His job: calculate a route that keeps them alive. His hand hovers over the map. He has intelligence reports, weather forecasts, equations. What he does not have is certainty. Captain Creary appears with tea. You will wear a hole in the desk. I have never sent men into combat before. Never made a decision that could kill people. None of us had until we did. Those men are already in danger. You did not create it. Your job is not to eliminate risk. Your job is to reduce it. Intelligence summary: 47 U-boats in the North Atlantic. Howe plots all 47. Uses red circles for patrol zones. They overlap. Create high-density contact zones. Standard route from New York to Liverpool cuts through 3 high-density zones. This is why convoys keep getting slaughtered. Howe calculates alternatives. First attempt, 200 miles south. Avoids 2 zones, but weather shows storms. Ships could scatter. Crossed out. Second attempt, 150 miles north. Adds 180 miles. Fuel consumption increases. 2 older ships might not make it. Crossed out. By dawn, March 6th, he has calculated 11 routes. All failed. Maybe this is just theory. Maybe you cannot beat submarines with equations. He stands to leave. His elbow knocks coffee across the map. The liquid spreads, stains a large area southwest of Iceland. He starts wiping, then stops. That zone is blank. No red circles. No U-boat positions. Why? He pulls convoy records, plots every route from 6 months. None go through that zone. It is too far south for northern routes. Too far north for southern routes. A gap. He checks the U-boat database. 0 contacts in 90 days. His heart races. U-boats patrol where convoys go. If convoys never sail through a zone, U-boats have no reason to patrol there. Howe has been calculating wrong. He has been trying to predict where U-boats are. He should calculate where they cannot be. He pulls fresh paper. Starts frantically. A route that departs on standard path for 600 miles. Then sharp turn south into empty zone. Stays 800 miles. Then northeast to Liverpool. Additional distance, 490 miles. Fuel increase, 3%. Acceptable. U-boat contact probability, 7%, compared to 43% standard. At 07:15, Creary arrives, finds Howe surrounded by papers, coffee stained. Did you sleep? No, sir. But I found it. I was calculating wrong. I cannot know where every submarine is. But I can know where they are not. If we sail through empty zones, U-boats cannot find us. This route adds 490 miles. Yes, sir. But reduces contact probability 84%. I am presenting to Admiral Horton at 1,000 hours. Are you confident? Howe thinks about ONS 166, 627 dead. His brother Michael sailing a standard route right now. No, sir. But I am more confident than sending them where we lost 14 ships last week. March 6th, 1,000 hours. Admiral Horton's office. Senior officers present. Commander Gretton, the most experienced convoy escort leader. Gretton speaks first. This route adds 490 miles. Extra day at sea. Extra fuel. Extra exposure. It reduces U-boat contact probability from 43 to 7%, Creary says. An 84% reduction. Based on assumptions, a captain interrupts. Assumptions piled on assumptions. Every military decision is based on assumptions, Horton says. The question is whether these are more reliable than current strategy. How many convoys in 3 months? 68, sir. How many encountered U-boats? 53. All on standard routes? Silence. They all were. We have been sailing predictable routes for 4 years. Germans know exactly where we will be. Sergeant Howe proposes we stop being predictable. Captain Morrison. Sir, if this fails, it undermines confidence in the entire system. Men are already questioning that. We lost 108 ships in February. I question whether we know what we are doing. Room goes quiet. Gretton studies the map carefully. It could work. Germans concentrate where traffic is heaviest. If we sail where traffic has never been, they waste days searching. Or they could have boats there we have not detected, Morrison argues. That is possible, Horton says. We make decisions based on probability, not certainty. Probability on standard routes is 78%. On this route, historically, 0 contacts. I will take unknown over certain death. Convoy HX229A will follow this route, absolute radio silence, no deviations. If this succeeds, we expand immediately. If it fails, I take responsibility. Dismissed. March 8, 1943. New York Harbor. Convoy HX229A assembles. 38 ships, 6 escorts, 87,000 tons of cargo. The physical supply line keeping Britain alive. Commodore, Rear Admiral Morehouse, 62 years old. He has sailed 19 convoys, lost ships on 14, watched 83 men drown. At 0900, 200 miles offshore, Morehouse opens sealed orders. Reads. His grip tightens. Problem, sir. This route is 500 miles longer. Takes us through waters no convoy has sailed in months. Morehouse plots it. Makes no tactical sense. Deviates from procedure. But it avoids every known U-boat concentration. How many men have we lost on our last 5 crossings? 42, sir. 4 ships. All on standard routes? Yes, sir. Then perhaps standard routes are the problem. He sends coded message. Course change to 067. Radio silence, except emergency. The convoy turns. 38 ships. 300 men. Trusting that somewhere in London a mathematician made the right calculations. None know the mathematician is 24, gets seasick, and has never commanded anything larger than a pencil. March 8th, 2100 hours. Section 8. Howe cannot sleep. He tried. Kept seeing the map, the route, red circles, 7% contact risk. That means 93% safe passage. Good odds. But 7% is not 0. 7% means 300 men might die because he spilled coffee and had an idea. He returns to Section 8. The night shift is working. They know. The first calculated route sailed today. Everyone is waiting. Eleanor Thompson approaches. You will not sleep until you know they are safe. I reviewed your methodology. Brilliant. Inverse probability. Most predict where threats are. You predict where they are not. But you are terrified you are wrong. Yes. That means you are sane. Anyone who sends men into danger without being terrified is either a fool or sociopath. You are neither. March 9th, 1400 hours. Section 8. A telegram arrives. Personal correspondence. Howe opens it, hand shaking. SS Benjamin Harrison. Convoy SC121. Torpedoed March 7th, 03:15 hours. Ship lost. 37 crew recovered. 11 missing, presumed dead. Boatswain Michael Howe listed among missing. The telegram slips from his fingers. His brother, missing, presumed dead. Michael sailed SC121. Standard route, predictable. The U-boats knew exactly where. They waited. They killed Michael, while Patrick calculated routes for different convoys. Thompson sees the telegram. Oh God. Patrick, I am so sorry. Creary appears. Sergeant, take the rest of the day. Howe stands. Face blank. Voice steady. How many convoys sail in the next 48 hours? You should not be working. How many convoys? 4. Then I have work to do. He walks to his desk, pulls out charts, hand shaking badly, but he holds it, starts drawing. Should we stop him? Thompson asks. No, Creary says. This is how he grieves. This is how he fights back. Howe calculates for 4 hours straight. Does not eat. Drink. Speak. Every route perfect. Every calculation flawless. Because if he stops, he will break. And if he breaks, more men die. More brothers drown. Michael is gone. But every convoy he routes correctly is revenge. Every ship that survives is a middle finger to the U-boats that killed his brother. Thompson brings tea. Your brother would be proud. My brother is dead because I was calculating routes for the wrong convoys. You cannot save everyone, only the ones you can reach. Howe looks at her, eyes red, not from tears, from rage. Then I will reach as many as I possibly can. March 10th, 0330 hours. North Atlantic, convoy HX229A sails through calm seas. They are 140 miles south of where a standard convoy would be. Water no convoy has crossed in 4 months. Aboard SS Elihu Yale, Morehouse has not slept in 32 hours. If Howe's calculations are wrong, they are sailing blind into U-boats with no escape. The radio is silent. No distress calls, no sightings, nothing. 4 days since departure. No contacts. The U-boats always come. Always. But hours pass. Dawn arrives. Still no contacts. Maybe the mathematician was right. March 10th, 1400 hours. Lorient, France. U-boat headquarters. Gross Admiral Dönitz studies the map. Wolfpack Raubgraf. 11 submarines. Positioned perfectly. They have waited 4 days. HX229A should have reached them 36 hours ago. It did not. Raubgraf reports no contacts. Roosing says they swept twice. The convoy is not there. Weather? Clear. Perfect hunting. Then where are they? Dönitz traces the standard route. Every convoy follows this, shortest distance, basic navigation. But HX229A is not there. They changed their route. Impossible, sir. Nobody deviates from shortest distance. Unless saving ships is more important than saving fuel. Someone in London calculated where our boats are, routed their convoy where we are not. How could they know our positions? They do not need exact positions, just where we probably are. Along standard routes. If they avoid standard routes, they avoid us. Expand search 150 kilometres south. The Wolfpack moves. Searches 2 days. Finds nothing. The convoy has vanished. March 12th, 0630 hours. Liverpool. Telegram arrives from Morehouse. Creary reads it, hands shaking. He walks to Horton's office, enters without permission. Horton reads the telegram, sets it down carefully. 0 losses, 0 contacts. 38 departed, 38 arrived. The first convoy to cross the North Atlantic in 4 months without encountering enemy submarines. On the first trial of Howe's system. Where is Howe? Section 8. He has been there 3 days straight. His brother was killed on SC-121. He has not stopped working since. Call him. I want him here in 10 minutes. March 12th, 0700 hours. Admiral Horton's office. Howe stands at attention. Unshaved, wrinkled uniform, bloodshot eyes. Aged 10 years in 1 week. Also present, Gretton, Morrison, 4 captains. Convoy HX229A arrived this morning. 38 ships, 0 losses. Explain how. Howe's voice is flat, mechanical. The convoy followed a route calculated to avoid high U-boat probability zones. We identified areas with 0 historical contacts. The U-boats waited on standard routes for a convoy that never came. Morrison, 1 successful convoy, proves nothing. Luck. Howe repeats, luck. Convoy SC-121 followed standard route, shortest distance, most efficient. That convoy lost 4 ships, 48 men dead, including my brother. Room goes silent, HX229. A followed non-standard route, 490 miles longer, less efficient, against every principle. That convoy lost 0 ships, 0 men dead. Howe looks directly at Morrison. Tell me, Captain, which convoy was lucky? The one that followed regulations and lost 48? Or the one that broke regulations and saved 300? Morrison has no answer. Gretton steps forward. Sir, I have escorted 17 convoys, lost 41 ships. HX 229A was my 18th. We encountered nothing. The U-boats searched standard routes while we sailed 150 miles south. They wasted days. Found nothing. The sergeant's mathematics work. Horton nods. Captain Creary, how quickly can Section 8 scale this? We need more analysts. 12. Better equipment. Each route takes 6 to 8 hours. You have 1 week. After that, every North Atlantic convoy uses calculated routing. No exceptions. Every convoy gets a unique path. Morrison, objections? Morrison's jaw tightens. No, sir. Dismissed. Howe walks back to Section 8. Thompson meets him. You did it. They are expanding the program. Howe sits, pulls out files for 7 convoys, picks up his pencil. How many sail tomorrow? 3. Then I have 3 routes to calculate. His hand is not shaking anymore. The rage is focused, channeled. Every route he calculates is a weapon. Every convoy that survives is victory. Michael is dead. But Michael's death will not be meaningless. Numbers flow across paper. Routes take shape. Somewhere in the Atlantic, U-boats are repositioning, searching for convoys they will not find. And in a basement office in London, a 24-year-old sergeant with a dead brother and a mathematics degree is beating them move by move, with nothing but numbers and rage. March 14th, 1943. Lorient. Dönitz reads reports. 4 convoys crossed the Atlantic last week. None appeared where they should. 11 U-boats, 40 days at sea, 0 attacks, fuel wasted, time wasted. The British are not using standard routes, Rosing says. Someone is doing this. Someone in London calculating our positions, predicting our patterns, routing convoys around us. One person? It only takes one analyst who understands probability and submarine tactics. One mathematician. Dönitz draws circles showing where British convoys have not been. The pattern is clear. Empty zones. Areas German U-boats patrol, but British convoys avoid. Whoever is doing this is not guessing. This is calculated. Precise. Mathematical. Send priority message to Berlin. Find out who is making these calculations. And if we find him? Dönitz's face is stone. Kill him. I do not care how. U-boat, bombing raid, assassin. Find the man routing these convoys and eliminate him. We have 400 submarines, thousands of men, billions of Reichsmarks. I will not be defeated by someone with a pencil. Dönitz stares at the map. Somewhere in England, someone is outthinking him, turning submarine warfare into mathematics. And mathematics can be deadlier than torpedoes. March 15th. 2100 hours. Section 8. Howe calculates route for convoy SC-122. 50 ships, 6 escorts, 400 men. Departure tomorrow. He plots the course, checks intelligence, recalculates fuel, verifies weather, runs probability 3 times. Contact probability 8%. Good odds. He signs off, sets it aside. What Howe does not know, German intelligence intercepted a coded transmission 2 hours ago. They do not know what it says, but they know it came from Admiralty Citadel. Section 8. And they are coming. What Howe also does not know, SC-122 will sail into the largest U-boat concentration in Atlantic history. 41 submarines. Wolfpacks, Raubgraf, Stürmer, Dranger, combined. Dönitz is gambling everything on one massive ambush. If the British avoid standard routes, he will cover every possible route, saturate the zone, make it impossible to avoid. SC-122 will be the test. Either Howe's mathematics hold against overwhelming force, or 400 men die. and the program dies with them. In 48 hours, the Battle of the Atlantic reaches its turning point, and Patrick Howe, 24 years old, dead brother, 3 days without sleep, will face the moment every mathematician fears. When the numbers stop working and people die, March 17, 1943, 0200 hours, North Atlantic, 52 degrees north, 28 degrees west. Convoy SC-122 is dying. Lieutenant Commander Robert Tanner watches SS Fort Cedar Lake break in half. 2 torpedoes, 90 seconds ago. The 7,000-ton vessel lifted completely out of the water. Now it folds like a closing book. Men are jumping, tiny figures throwing themselves into freezing water because burning is worse. The ship disappears in 4 minutes. Only burning oil and wreckage and screaming remain. That is the 4th ship in 30 minutes. Tanner grabs the radio. Vanquisher to all escorts. Contact bearing 270. Multiple U-boats. Pattern suggests Wolfpack strength 15 boats minimum. HMS Whitehall responds. We have contact bearing 095. At least 8 boats. They are everywhere, Vanquisher. Bloody everywhere. Tanner looks at the map. The convoy is surrounded. U-boats ahead, behind, both flanks. This is not an attack. This is an execution. Another explosion. SS Daniel Webster. Tanker, 12,000 tons of fuel oil. The explosion knocks Tanner off his feet. He gets up. The tanker is a fireball 300 feet high. No survivors from that one. 7 ships in 1 hour. The U-boats are still attacking. March 17th, 1943. 0:21:05 hours. Section 8, Admiralty Citadel. Patrick Howe sits at his desk, recalculating the SC-122 route for the 15th time. The convoy sailed 2 days ago. Should be safe in the empty zone he calculated. Should be. But something is wrong. He can feel it. Eleanor Thompson glances at him. You are doing it again. Recalculating a route you already calculated perfectly. SC-122 is fine. Your mathematics work. HX-229A proved that. The door opens. Captain Creary enters. His face is grey. He is holding a telegram. Howe's heart stops. He knows that look. Creary sets down the telegram. Flash priority. Convoy SC-122 under sustained attack. Position 52 degrees north, 28 degrees west. Multiple U-boat contacts. 7 ships sunk, 14 damaged. Casualties estimated 400 plus. Attack ongoing. Howe stares. Reads again. 7 ships, 400 dead. Position 52 degrees north, 28 degrees west. He checks the map. That is exactly where the convoy should be. Exactly where he calculated. The empty zone, the safe corridor. Except it is not empty. How many U-boats? Howe asks. At least 20, possibly more. 20 U-boats. In a zone that should have had 0. In an empty corridor based on 90 days of data showing no activity. Thompson stares at the telegram. Patrick, this is not your fault. Intelligence must have been wrong. Howe is calculating in his head. 7 ships, average 50 crew. That is 350 men minimum. 14 damaged. More casualties. 400 is conservative. 400 men. Dead. Because Howe calculated wrong. I sent them there. You calculated based on best available intelligence. That is an excuse. Howe's voice is getting louder. My job is to account for incomplete intelligence. I failed. 400 men paid the price. He stands suddenly. Chair falls backward. You were right. Morrison was right. All of them were right. This is just theory. College mathematics. It does not work because the real world does not follow equations. People die when you guess wrong, and I guessed wrong, and now 400 men are dead. Howe, Creary says sharply, sit down. Howe does not sit. He is breathing hard, staring at the map, where men are burning and drowning because he calculated a safe route that was not safe. Thompson approaches, Patrick HX229A worked perfectly, 0 losses. One failure does not erase that. One failure, Howe turns on her. 400 men is not one failure. That is 400 failures. 400 families getting telegrams because some kid with a pencil thought he was smarter than he actually is. The door opens, Admiral Horton enters. Sergeant Howe, in my office, now. March 17th, 1943, 02:45 hours. Admiral Horton's office. Sit down, Sergeant. Howe sits, hands still shaking. Convoy SC-122 has lost 7 ships so far. By morning we may lose 15 or more. This is a catastrophe. Howe says nothing. Captain Morrison is in the operations room telling everyone your system failed. That calculated routing is dangerous experimental nonsense, that we should return to standard procedures immediately, and I am inclined to agree with him. Howe looks up. Sir, your methodology worked once. HX229A, 38 ships, 0 losses. But SC-122 proves the methodology is unreliable. 1 success and 1 catastrophic failure, 50% success rate. We cannot operate on a coin flip. I understand, sir. Do you? This is not a classroom. These are real men, real consequences. You calculated a route that led 400 men to their deaths. Yes, sir. Tell me what went wrong. I calculated SC-122's route based on intelligence from March 15th. 47 U-boats tracked. I identified a corridor with 0 predicted contacts. The convoy was routed through that corridor. And the intelligence was wrong, or incomplete. The Germans moved boats into that area. Or they were already there and we did not detect them. I do not know. But my calculations were based on data that was not accurate. That is the problem. Your system relies on intelligence that is always incomplete. Standard routing may be predictable, but at least it is reliable. We know the risks. Your system promises lower risk, but delivers catastrophic failure when assumptions are wrong. So we are shutting down the program. Horton walks to the window. HX229A saved 300 men. SC-122 killed 400. Net result, down 100 men compared to standard routing. The mathematics say your system is worse. He turns back. Unless HX229A was normal and SC-122 was the outlier. Then the mathematics say your system saves 600 per convoy. The question is, which interpretation is correct? Creary speaks. Sir, the Germans moved boats into that corridor for a reason. They detected a pattern. 2 convoys avoiding standard routes. They adapted. That means the system was working so well, it forced the enemy to change tactics. Or the system is fundamentally flawed. He sits. Here is what happens. You have 72 hours, 3 days. Analyze what went wrong. Determine if your methodology can be fixed or if it is unsalvageable. Brief me personally. And if I cannot fix it, then we return to standard routing and this experiment ends. Dismissed. Howe stops at the door. Sir, how many men have we lost on standard routing in the last 3 months? 1,472. And how many on calculated routing? 400. So even with SC-122, we have killed 1,000 fewer men than standard procedure. The mathematics say we should continue. The mathematics also said SC-122 was safe. Horton says coldly, and 400 men are dead. Do not lecture me. Show me a system that works, or get out of my navy. March 17th, 1943, 0400 hours. Section 8. Howe stares at the map, the position where SC-122 is dying. He can see it. Ships burning, men screaming, torpedoes, explosions, death. Because he calculated wrong. Thompson brings tea. He does not touch it. I need to figure out what I did wrong. The intelligence was incomplete. That is an excuse. My job is to account for incomplete intelligence. I failed. 400 men paid. He pulls out SC-122's route, intelligence summaries, U-boat positions. historical data, weather reports, everything. There has to be something I missed. Thompson sits. They work in silence, cross-referencing, checking, looking for the mistake. 2 hours later, Howe stops. What? He points at intelligence from March 15th. This lists 47 U-boats, estimated positions based on radio intercepts and sightings. He pulls summaries from March 10th, March 5th, March 1st, February 25th. All list approximately 47. The Germans build 20 to 25 new submarines monthly. We sink fewer than 10. The number should be increasing by 15 to 20 per month. Thompson sees it. But the summaries show the same number, because we are only tracking the ones we know about. We track by radio intercepts, direction finding, sightings. But what if there are boats we are not tracking? Boats maintaining radio silence, boats in areas we do not monitor, boats invisible to our intelligence. He stands, paces. I calculated SC-122's route assuming we had complete intelligence. Assuming 47 tracked boats represented all U-boats. But what if there were 20 more we did not know about? What if the empty zone was full of submarines we could not see? That is why it failed, Thompson says. You built a model based on incomplete data. The Germans filled the gaps. Howe sits hard. The mathematics were perfect, the calculations flawless. But the assumption was wrong. He assumed intelligence was complete enough. It was not. 400 men dead because of one wrong assumption. How do we fix it? Howe stares at the map. I do not know if we can. March 18th, 1943, 1100 hours. Operations room. Final casualty. Count arrives. SC-122. 13 ships sunk. 8 damaged beyond repair. 593 dead. Another 212 in lifeboats. Water temperature 36 degrees. Most will not survive. Captain Morrison briefs senior staff. Howe is in the back. Creary made him attend. SC-122 represents the third worst convoy loss of 1943. 13 ships. Nearly 600 dead. This catastrophe was caused by experimental routing that placed the convoy directly in a wolf pack's path. He looks at Howe. Procedures calculated by an inexperienced analyst using theoretical models that do not account for real-world conditions. I submit that calculated routing is not only ineffective, it is actively dangerous. A captain speaks. What about HX229A, 0 losses? One success does not validate a methodology that produces catastrophic failures. Would you fly in an aircraft that works 50% of the time? He points at the casualty board. 600 men would be alive if SC-122 followed standard routing. Those deaths are directly attributable to Sergeant Howe's miscalculations. Every eye turns toward Howe. He forces himself to watch, to listen, to accept responsibility. Admiral Horton stands. Before we decide, I want to hear from Sergeant Howe. Sergeant? Howe walks to the front. His throat is dry, hands shaking. Every officer outranks him. Most are twice his age. All are staring with hostility. Sir, I have reviewed the SC-122 route. The methodology was sound. Execution was correct. The failure occurred because of a flawed assumption. What assumption? I assumed our intelligence was complete enough to identify empty zones. That assumption was wrong. We only track submarines that break radio silence or are sighted. Boats maintaining discipline are invisible. So your system does not work, Morrison says. My system works if intelligence is accurate. But intelligence is never completely accurate. That is the fundamental problem. Then your system is useless. We cannot base routing on intelligence we know is incomplete. Howe takes a breath, unless we account for the incompleteness. Meaning what? He walks to the map, pulls out a chart. Instead of calculating where U-boats are not, we calculate the probability U-boats could be present even if undetected. He points to the route. This is a probabilistic risk model. Every zone gets a score 0 to 100. 0 means certainty of no U-boats. 100 means certainty of presence. Everything between is probability based on historical data, intelligence reliability, confidence intervals. A commander interrupts. That is just guessing with extra steps. No, sir. Guessing is random. This is probability theory. We calculate likelihood based on multiple variables. Sighting frequency, time since last update, German patterns, weather, moon phase, dozens of factors. And this would have saved SC122? Horton asks. Howe hesitates. Honestly, I do not know. But it would have flagged that corridor as higher risk. We might have routed differently, or assigned more escorts, or delayed departure, or 600 men might still be dead, and we wasted time, Morrison says. Howe turns to him. Captain, with respect, standard routing is not saving anyone. We lost 108 ships in February on standard routes, 1,400 men. Calculated routing has killed 600 total. That is horrible. But it is still 800 fewer deaths. Morrison's face reddens. You are using February as baseline. February was exceptional. February was typical. January lost 92 ships. December, 85. November, 73. Standard routing kills approximately 1,000 men per month. Every month. Reliably? My system killed 600 once because I made a mistake. Your system kills that many every 3 weeks because it is fundamentally broken. The room erupts. Officers shouting, Morrison on his feet. Enough. Horton's voice cuts through. Instant silence. You said 72 hours to fix your methodology. How much time used? 40 hours, sir. And can you fix it? Howe looks at the map, at the positions where ships die, at equations that failed. Yes, sir, I can fix it. How? By accepting I will never have perfect information. By building models that account for uncertainty instead of pretending certainty exists. By calculating risk instead of trying to predict the future. He points at the new chart. This is version 2. Probabilistic routing. It is not perfect. Nothing is. But it is better. And better is all we have. Horton studies the chart. Captain Creary. Assessment. The sergeant's original methodology saved 300 on HX229A. His revised methodology accounts for intelligence gaps. I recommend one test convoy. If it fails, we terminate permanently. Morrison speaks. Admiral, we cannot afford another SC122. If this test fails, we lose another 500 men, and operational credibility is destroyed. If we return to standard routing, Horton says, we lose 1,000 men per month, forever. At least Howe is trying to find a better way. You get one more chance. Convoy HX231 departs New York, March 22nd. 4 days. You calculate the route using revised methodology. If losses are average or above, your program ends. If losses are below average, we expand. Understood? Yes, sir. Dismissed. Morrison stops in front of Howe. You just killed your second convoy, son. When HX231 goes down, remember, I tried to stop you. Howe stands alone, staring at the map, at routes, at numbers that stopped working. 4 days to build a system that accounts for everything he got wrong, everything he did not see, everything he assumed that was false. 4 days to be right, or more men die. March 18th, 1943, 1800 hours. Section 8. Howe has not left his desk in 14 hours. The revised model is taking shape. Probability matrices, confidence intervals, Bayesian updating. Every zone gets a risk score. Every route gets cumulative contact probability. Thompson runs calculations on mechanical computers. The machines clatter. Numbers pour onto paper strips. She cuts, pastes onto charts. The wall is covered with data. Eleanor, What is the probability HX231 encounters U-boats using the new model? She checks. 17%. That is higher than the 7% I calculated for SC122. Yes, but the confidence interval is tighter. The 17% accounts for unknown boats, intelligence gaps, uncertainty. It is a more honest number. Howe stares at the route. 17% means 83% safe passage. Good odds. Better than standard. But not perfect. Never perfect. He signs off, sets it aside. His hands are steady now, the rage burned out. What is left is cold determination. He cannot save SC122. They are dead, but he can save HX231. Maybe. A messenger enters. Telegram for Sergeant Howe. Howe's heart stops. Another telegram. He opens it slowly. From Lieutenant Commander Tanner, HMS Vanquisher, SC122. Survivors recovered, 212 in lifeboats. 89 recovered alive, 123. Dead from exposure. Final casualty, count 7, 116. Dead, 716 dead. Howe reads again, 716. He sets it down carefully, adds it to the others. Michael, SC122. A growing stack of death, a ledger of failure. Thompson sees his face. Patrick, I need to work. He pulls out HX231. Starts recalculating, checking every assumption, every variable, every risk factor. The route must be perfect. Cannot afford mistakes. Cannot afford more telegrams. The pencil moves. Numbers flow. Routes take shape. Somewhere in the Atlantic, U-boats are waiting. And in a basement office in London, a 24-year-old sergeant who killed 716 men with bad mathematics is trying to save the next convoy with better mathematics. Trying to prove numbers can still work, even when they fail, even when people die. The clock ticks. 4 days becomes 3, becomes 2. And Patrick Howe calculates, because calculation is all he has left. March 22nd, 1943. 0600 hours. New York Harbour. Convoy HX231 assembles. 42 ships, 7 escorts, 350 men, tanks, aircraft, ammunition, everything Britain needs. Commodore Captain James Forsyth reads routing orders, sees the calculated route, 17% contact probability. He has heard about SC122. Everyone has. 13 ships lost, 700 dead. Experimental routing that failed catastrophically. Now he is supposed to trust the same system. His first officer asks, "Sir, should we request standard routing?" Forsyth looks at the orders. 17%, 83% safe passage. On standard routing, what is our contact probability? Historical average is 78%, sir. Forsyth nods. So we have 17% chance on calculated routing, or 78% on standard. The mathematics are clear. Convoy HX231 departing on schedule, following calculated route. The ships move out, into the Atlantic, into the unknown. Trusting that somewhere in London a mathematician got it right this time, trusting that numbers work, even when they have failed before. March 22nd, 1943, 1400 hours. Section 8. Howe sits, stares at the clock. HX231 sailed 8 hours ago. The route is set. Decisions made. All he can do is wait. Wait and see if he killed another convoy. Thompson sits beside him. Do you want to talk? Howe shakes his head. Nothing to talk about. Either the route works or it does not. Either men live or die. Talking changes nothing. You did everything you could. I did everything I could for SC1222. 716 men are dead. Everything I could was not enough. This time is different. You accounted for uncertainty. This time I admitted I do not know everything. That is not the same as being right. That is just being less wrong. Being less wrong saves lives. Or it kills fewer people when it fails. He walks to the map, stares at the route, the probability scores, the calculations that might be right or catastrophically wrong. In 4 days, we will know. 4 days until HX231 reaches the critical zone. 4 days to see if math beats submarines, or if submarines beat math again. And if it works, then we route every convoy this way. We save thousands of lives. We win the Battle of the Atlantic. Mathematics defeats torpedoes. Howe pauses. And if it fails, then 700 more men die. The program ends. I go back to Boston, and submarines win the war. The room is quiet except for calculating machines. Numbers flowing, equations forming, probabilities calculating. 4 days. Everything depends on 4 days. March 26th, 1943. 0800 hours. North Atlantic, 48 degrees north, 32 degrees west. Convoy HX231 is alive. Captain James Forsyth stands on the bridge of SS Delaware, watching the empty horizon. 6 days at sea. 0 U-boat contacts. 0 casualties. 42 ships sailing in perfect formation through water that should be swarming with submarines. But there is nothing. Just empty ocean. Forsyth's first officer approaches. "Sir, we are 12 hours from the critical zone. If the Germans are going to attack, it will be soon." Forsyth checks the route. They are following Howe's probabilistic routing, 17% contact probability. The route took them 200 miles north of where SC-122 died. Through zones, the intelligence marked as low confidence empty. So far, the mathematics are holding. His radio man calls out, "Sir, signal from HMS Vanquisher." They are picking up hydrophone contacts, possible submarine, bearing 045, range unknown. Forsyth's chest tightens. There it is. The moment when theory meets reality. All ships maintain formation, escorts to engage. Radio silence maintained. HMS Vanquisher breaks from the convoy, races toward the contact. 2 minutes later, depth charges explode. The ocean erupts. White water geysers 50 feet high. Silence. The convoy sails on. The horizon stays empty. 10 minutes later, Vanquisher signals. Contact lost. Possible U-boat withdrew. No torpedoes launched. Forsyth exhales slowly. 1 submarine. It detected them, but did not attack. Perhaps could not attack. Perhaps the escort response was too fast. Perhaps it was alone, separated from its wolf pack. Perhaps Howe's mathematics just saved 350 lives by putting them where U-boats do not expect convoys to be. March 26, 1943, 1600 hours. Section 8. Howe reads the flash report from HX231. 1 submarine contact, 0 attacks. Convoy proceeding, ETA, Liverpool, 0900 hours, March 27th. He sets the telegram down carefully. His hands do not shake any more. After SC-122, after 716 dead, after 3 weeks of calculating routes for convoys that might live or die based on his equations, his hands have learned to be steady. Thompson walks over. HX231 is almost through. If they arrive with 0 losses, that is 2 successes out of 3 attempts. 67% success rate. 67% means 1 in 3 convoys dies. 1 in 3 convoys died on standard routing too. Actually, it was closer to 4 in 5. Your system is saving lives, Patrick. My system killed 716 people 3 weeks ago, and it saved 600 people before that, and it is about to save another 350 tomorrow. The mathematics are in your favour. Howe looks at her. When did we start measuring success in terms of fewer dead people instead of no dead people? When we went to war. The door opens. Captain Creary enters with Admiral Horton. Everyone in Section 8 stands. Horton walks directly to Howe's desk. Sergeant Howe. Walk with me. They walk through the Citadel corridors. Horton does not speak until they reach the operations room. The massive map of the Atlantic covers the wall. red markers for convoys, black markers for U-boats. But something has changed. The red markers are moving through different areas now, avoiding the concentrations of black. Do you see that, Sergeant? Yes, sir. In the last 3 weeks, we have run 18 convoys using your probabilistic routing. 12 arrived with 0 losses. 4 arrived with minimal losses. 1 ship each. 2 arrived with moderate losses. SC-122 and ONS-169. 4 and 6 ships, respectively. How does the mathematics automatically? 11 ships lost across 18 convoys. Average 0.6 ships per convoy. Standard routing averaged 12.4 ships per convoy. We have reduced losses by 95%. Yes, sir. Horton turns to face him. You understand what that means? In 3 weeks, you have done what the entire Royal Navy could not do in 4 years. You have beaten the U-boats. Not beaten, sir. Just moved the problem. Moved the problem? Howe walks to the map. The Germans are adapting. After HX-229A, they started dispersing their patrol zones. After SC-122, they concentrated forces in areas we were using as empty corridors. Now, they are trying to predict our unpredictability. It is a game of moves and counter-moves. Right now, we are ahead. But eventually, they will figure out the pattern. How long do we have? Howe considers. 2 months, maybe 3. Then they will have enough data to predict our routing methodology. They will position submarines where we think it is safe, and we will be back where we started. So we develop a new methodology. Or we change the game entirely. Horton raises an eyebrow. Explain. Right now, we are routing convoys to avoid U-boats. Defensive strategy. What if we route convoys to destroy U-boats? Offensive strategy. How? Howe points at the map. The Germans concentrate their forces where they think convoys will be. What if we deliberately route a convoy through a predicted wolf pack zone, but we escort it with overwhelming force? Anti-submarine aircraft, destroyers, depth-charge ships. We turn the convoy into bait. When the U-boats attack, we slaughter them. Horton is quiet for a long moment. You are proposing we sacrifice merchant ships to kill submarines. I am proposing we use one heavily escorted convoy as a weapon. Accept minimal losses to inflict maximum damage. The Germans have 400 operational U-boats. We are killing 10 per month. At that rate, the war lasts 10 more years. But if we destroy 30 or 40 boats in one engagement, we change the mathematics of the entire conflict. And if the convoy is destroyed? If the Germans overwhelm the escorts? Then we lose 50 ships and 500 men in one day, Howe says quietly. And I spend the rest of my life knowing I killed them. Horton studies him. You have changed, Sergeant. 3 weeks ago, you were a mathematician who wanted to save lives. Now you are a strategist who accepts casualties. SC-122 changed me, sir. 716 men died because I tried to save everyone. I learned that you cannot save everyone. Sometimes you have to choose who dies so more people can live. It is horrible mathematics, but it is honest. Horton nods slowly. Write up the proposal, full operational plan. I will present it to the Prime Minister. But understand something, Sergeant. If this works, you will be a hero. If it fails, you will be the man who deliberately sent convoys to their deaths. I am already that man, sir. SC-122 made sure of it. March 27th, 1943. 0900 hours. Liverpool. Convoy HX-231 arrives. 42 ships departed New York. 42 ships arrive Liverpool. 0 losses. The telegram reaches Section 8 at 09:15. Thompson reads it aloud. The entire office erupts. Analysts cheering, clerks applauding. Someone breaks out a bottle of whiskey hidden in a filing cabinet. Howe sits at his desk. Does not move. Does not celebrate. Just stares at the telegram. 2 successful convoys. HX-229A. HX 231. 650 men who went to sea and came home, because he calculated correctly, and one failed convoy, SC122. 716 men who drowned or burned because he calculated wrong. Net result, negative 66 lives. Thompson sits beside him. You cannot keep doing this. Doing what? Counting the dead. You save 10 and lose 1, and you only remember the 1, because the 1 is my fault. The 10 are just statistics. The 10 are lives, Patrick. Real people, real families, real futures. You gave them that. I took it away from 700 others. She grabs his hand, forces him to look at her. Listen to me. You did not kill those men. The U-boats killed them. The war killed them. You tried to save them, and it did not work. That is not murder. That is tragedy. There is a difference. Is there? Yes. Murder is when you do not care. Tragedy is when you care too much. March 28th, 1943. 1400 hours. Lorient, France. Dönitz reads the reports. Convoy HX231 arrived Liverpool with 0 losses. That is 3 British convoys in 3 weeks that avoided his entire submarine fleet. HX229A, HX231, and a third convoy, designation unknown, that slipped past Wolfpack Seawolf without a single contact. Rosing stands beside him. The British are using mathematical routing. We confirmed it from decoded radio traffic. They have an operational research section calculating optimal convoy paths based on probability theory. Dönitz's face is stone. We are being beaten by mathematicians. Yes, sir. Do we know who is doing the calculations? British intelligence security is tight. But we intercepted enough to know it is a small team, possibly 1 primary analyst. Code name Blackbird, operating from Admiralty Citadel, Section 8. 1 man is destroying our submarine fleet. 1 man is forcing us to waste resources searching empty ocean while his convoy sails somewhere else. Dönitz walks to the map, so we kill him. You sent the priority message to Berlin? 3 weeks ago, sir. Abwehr is working on it. But the Citadel is deep underground, bomb-proof. They have not identified the specific individuals involved. Then we do not bomb the Citadel. We bomb London. Blanket bombardment, terror raids. If we cannot kill him specifically, we kill everyone in the city until we get lucky. Sir, that would require diverting bomber assets from Eastern Front operations. The Führer will not approve. Then we do not ask. Dönitz's voice is cold. Contact Luftwaffe Command. Tell them there is a high-value intelligence target in London. Operational research facility. Coordinate night raids on the Admiralty District. Maximum tonnage. I want that entire neighbourhood levelled. And if we fail to kill the analyst, then we change tactics, Dönitz says. If 1 man can use mathematics to defeat 400 submarines, then we need our own mathematicians. Contact Kriegsmarine Operations Research. Tell them to develop a countermodel. Predict where the British will route convoys based on their own routing logic. If they are using probability theory, we use probability theory. We outcalculate them. That could take months, sir. Then it takes months. But we will not lose this war to a man with a pencil. March 30th, 1943. 2200 hours. London. The air raid sirens start at 2200 hours. Howe is still in Section 8. He has been there for 16 hours straight, working on the offensive convoy proposal, calculating optimal bait routes, estimating U-boat kill probabilities. Thompson looks up. Air raid. We need to get to the shelter. Howe does not move. We are in the shelter. The Citadel is reinforced concrete, 8 feet thick. Nothing gets through. The sirens get louder. Then the bombs start falling. Distant at first, then closer. The building shakes. Dust falls from the ceiling. The lights flicker. Captain Creary appears. Everyone out. Shelter level, now. But, sir, the calculations? Now, Sergeant. They evacuate to the lower levels, the Citadel's deepest shelter. 50 people crammed into a reinforced chamber. The bombs are louder now, closer. The walls shake with each impact. Someone is crying. Someone else is praying. Howe sits with his back against concrete, listening to London burn above him, thinking about SC-122, about 716 men who died because his mathematics failed, about the Germans who are dropping bombs on this city, trying to kill him specifically because his mathematics worked. Thompson sits beside him. They know about you. What? The Germans. They know about the routing program. That is why they are bombing. They are trying to kill the analysts. How do you know? Because this is the third raid this week, and all three have targeted the Admiralty district. That is not random. That is intentional. Howe processes this. The Germans are losing the convoy war, so they are trying to kill the man winning it, which means his system is working, which means he should feel victorious. Instead, he feels hunted. An explosion. Massive. The entire shelter shakes. Lights go out completely. Emergency lights kick in. Dim red glow. People screaming. Creary shouts over the noise. Everyone stay calm. The shelter is holding. We are safe. But they are not safe. Not really. If the Germans drop enough bombs in the right place, even 8 feet of concrete fails. If they bomb every night for a week, eventually something gives. And Patrick Howe dies in a basement in London, crushed under rubble, never knowing if his mathematics saved more lives than they cost. The bombing continues for 2 hours, then stops. Silence, ringing silence, all clear signal. They evacuate back to Section 8. The office is intact, dust everywhere, one window cracked, but the calculating machines still work. The files are still there, the maps are still on the wall. Howe sits at his desk, pulls out the offensive convoy proposal, picks up his pencil. Thompson stares at him. You are working? Now? After that? The Germans just tried to kill me because my routing system is working. That means I need to make it work better. That means more calculations, more routes, more convoys saved. He looks at her. Michael died because I was calculating routes for the wrong convoys. I will not make that mistake again. Every convoy gets a route. Every route gets calculated correctly. Even if the Germans bomb this building every single night. Even if it kills you. Especially if it kills me. Because then, at least I die doing something that matters. She watches him work for a long moment. Then she sits down. Pulls out her own calculations. Starts working beside him. If you are staying, I am staying. You do not have to. Yes, I do. Because you are too stubborn to quit and too valuable to lose, and someone needs to make sure you do not calculate yourself to death. Other analysts return, one by one. They sit at their desks, pull out their work, start calculating. Within 20 minutes, Section 8 is back to full operation, calculating routes, processing intelligence, saving lives. The Germans tried to stop them with bombs. They failed. Because mathematics does not care about explosions. Numbers still work even when buildings shake. Equations still solve even when people die. And Patrick Howe keeps calculating. Because it is all he knows how to do. The only weapon he has. The only way he can fight back. April 2nd, 1943. 1,000 hours. War Cabinet, 10 Downing Street. Admiral Horton stands before Prime Minister Winston Churchill presenting Howe's offensive convoy proposal. Churchill reads it in silence, smokes his cigar, finally looks up. You want to deliberately route a convoy into a wolf pack, use merchant ships as bait, slaughter the submarines when they surface to attack. Yes, Prime Minister? And you believe this will work because a 24-year-old American sergeant with a mathematics degree says the probability theory is sound. The sergeant's probability theory has reduced convoy losses by 95% in 4 weeks, sir. His methods work. His methods killed 700 men on convoy SC-122. His methods saved 1,800 men on 12 other convoys. Net result, 1,100 lives saved. Churchill studies the proposal. What are the risks? If the Germans overwhelm the escorts, we lose the entire convoy, possibly 50 ships, 600 men, and we reveal that we are using calculated routing as an offensive weapon. They will adapt their tactics accordingly, and if it succeeds, we destroy 30 to 40 U-boats in one engagement. That represents 10% of Germany's operational submarine fleet. We reduce their combat effectiveness for months. We shift the Battle of the Atlantic decisively in our favour. Churchill is quiet for a long moment. What does the sergeant say about the moral implications of using merchant sailors as bait? Horton hands Churchill a handwritten note from Howe. Churchill reads it. Every convoy is bait, whether we intend it or not. The U-boats hunt them all. The question is whether we arm the bait well enough to bite back. I would rather lose 50 men killing 40 submarines than lose 100 men killing 0 submarines. The mathematics are clear. The morality is not. But war does not wait for moral clarity. Churchill sets down the note. He is 24 years old, and he writes like a general. He buried his brother 3 weeks ago, sir. SC-122 killed his sense of innocence. Now he calculates with cold precision because emotion makes mistakes and mistakes kill people. Churchill nods slowly. Approved the operation. 1 convoy, maximum escort strength. If it fails, you will answer for it, Admiral. And if it succeeds, then we build this sergeant a monument because he will have won the war. April 5th, 1943, 0400 hours. Section 8. Howe finalises the route for convoy ONS-5. 43 merchant ships, 18 escorts, 6 anti-submarine aircraft. The largest convoy defence force assembled in the Atlantic to date. The route deliberately passes through a zone where intelligence indicates Wolfpack Fink is concentrated. 15 U-boats, maybe 20. The convoy is bait. The escorts are the trap. When the U-boats attack, the escorts will destroy them. Howe signs off on the route. Contact probability, 89%. The highest he has ever calculated, the most dangerous route he has ever drawn. A convoy deliberately sent into the teeth of a wolf pack. He sets down his pencil, stares at the map. 43 ships, 500 men. He is sending them to war. Not to avoid war, to war. If he is wrong, 500 die. If he is right, 500 fight. And maybe 50 die, but 40 U-boats die with them. The mathematics say it is worth it. The equations say offensive routing reduces long-term casualties by forcing the Germans to defend against convoys instead of hunting them. But mathematics do not account for the weight of deliberately choosing who fights and who dies. Thompson appears beside him. ONS-5? Yes. You calculated 89% contact probability. Yes. You are sending them into a meat grinder. I am sending them into a fight. There is a difference. Is there? Howe looks at her. His eyes are hollow. Exhausted? I do not know anymore. I stopped knowing the difference 3 weeks ago when SC-122 burned. Now I just calculate and hope that the numbers I get right outnumber the numbers I get wrong. Patrick, he cuts her off. ONS-5 departs Halifax in 6 hours. In 4 days, we will know if mathematics can turn a convoy into a weapon. If it works, we win the Atlantic. If it fails, I kill 500 men on purpose instead of by accident. He stands. Either way, the calculating continues, because stopping means more men die, and I have already killed enough. He walks out, leaves Thompson alone with the map, with the route, with the 89% contact probability that means a convoy is sailing straight into hell. And Patrick Howe, 24 years old, dead brother, 3 weeks of night bombings, 0 illusions left, has just weaponized mathematics. The war is about to learn whether numbers can kill as efficiently as torpedoes. April 9th, 1943, 0300 hours. North Atlantic, 56 degrees north, 42 degrees west. Convoy ONS-5 is under attack. Commander Peter Gretton stands on the bridge of HMS Duncan, watching hell unfold. U-boats are surfacing on all sides, not one or two, 14, attacking simultaneously in coordinated waves. This is not a wolf pack, this is an armada. Torpedoes in the water, starboard side, Gretton braces. 2 explosions. SS Bristol City takes both torpedoes amidships. The ship breaks apart, sinks in 90 seconds. No time for lifeboats, 53 men gone. But something is different this time. The escorts are not just defending, they are hunting. Duncan, to all escorts. Engage at will. Kill everything that moves. HMS Vidette races toward a surfaced U-boat. The submarine is desperately trying to dive. Too slow. Vidette's 4-inch gun fires. Direct hit. The U-boat's conning tower explodes. The submarine rolls. Sinks. 40 men dead in 10 seconds. 1 down. A second U-boat surfaces 800 yards away. U-260. Trying to line up a torpedo shot on the convoy. HMS Sunflower intercepts. Depth charges. The ocean erupts. The U-boat surfaces violently, crippled, circling. The crew abandons ship, 2 down, but the Germans keep coming. U-358 launches torpedoes from 1,200 yards. SS Wentworth takes one in the engine room, dead in the water, listing. But the escorts are already responding. HMS Loosestrife drops a pattern of depth charges exactly where U-358 submerged. Direct hit, oil slick, debris, bodies. 3 down. This is not defence, this is slaughter. April 9th, 1943, 0330 hours. Section 8. The flash reports arrive every 15 minutes. Howe reads them as they come in. 0305, ONS, 5 under attack. Multiple U-boat contacts. 1 merchant ship lost. 0318, 3 U-boats destroyed. Attacks continuing. 0332. Second merchant ship lost. 5 U-boats destroyed. Convoy maintaining formation. Eleanor Thompson reads over his shoulder. 5 U-boats. Patrick, it is working. Ships are dying. Ships always die. But you are killing U-boats faster than they are killing us. That is victory. Victory looks a lot like murder when you calculate it on purpose. Captain Creary enters. Hands Howe another telegram. This one is longer, more detailed. From Commander Gretton, HMS Duncan. ONS 5. Engagement summary 0400 hours. Merchant ships lost 3. U-boats destroyed 7 confirmed, 3 probable. Enemy withdrawing. Convoy proceeding. Howe reads it 3 times. 7 confirmed kills, 3 probable, 10 U-boats, in 1 hour of fighting. Creary's voice is quiet. You did it, Sergeant. You turned a convoy into a weapon. I killed 3 ships. You killed 10 submarines. And you saved 40 ships. The mathematics are overwhelmingly in our favour. Howe sets down the telegram, stares at his hands. These hands drew the route, calculated the 89% contact probability. Deliberately sent 500 men into a wolf pack because the equation said it would work. And it worked. Which means he was right. Which means he will do it again. How many more convoys? Howe asks. Creary sits down. Admiral Horton wants to expand the program. Offensive routing for 20% of all Atlantic convoys. High escort ratios. Calculated intercept courses. We turn the U-boat hunting grounds into U-boat graveyards. 20% of convoys. That is 8 per month. Roughly 400 men per convoy sent deliberately into combat. 3,200 men per month choosing to fight instead of hide. And if the Germans adapt? Then we adapt faster, Creary says. You have already proven we can outcalculate them. Now we prove we can outfight them. April 10th, 1943. 1200 hours. Lorient. Dönitz reads the casualty reports. Wolfpack Fink engaged convoy ONS-5. Expected result, 12 to 15 merchant ships sunk. Actual result, 3 merchant ships sunk, 10 U-boats lost, 10 submarines, 400 men, gone in 4 hours. Rösing stands silent, waiting. Dönitz's voice is ice. They knew we were there. Sir? The British. They knew exactly where Wolfpack Fink was positioned. They routed their convoy directly through our patrol zone. Then they ambushed us with overwhelming escort strength. This was not defence. This was deliberate tactical engagement. You believe they used calculated routing to attack us? Dönitz throws the report across the table. I do not believe. I know. The British mathematician is no longer hiding convoys. He is using them as bait. He is turning defensive escorts into offensive hunter-killer groups. And we just lost 10 boats proving it. What do? We stop concentrating our forces. Dönitz walks to the map. The British are predicting our Wolfpack positions, using probability theory to calculate where we will be, then routing convoys to either avoid us or destroy us. If we continue concentrating boats, we give them predictable targets. So we disperse? No, dispersing means fewer kills. We change tactics entirely. He points at the map. U-boats will operate individually. No more Wolfpacks, no more radio communication, no more predictable patrol zones. Each boat hunts alone, silent running, random search patterns. The British cannot calculate what they cannot predict. That reduces our effectiveness by 70%, sir. It also makes us invisible. And right now, invisible is more valuable than effective. Because effective is getting 400 of our men killed per convoy. Dönitz picks up a pen, drafts an order. As of April 15th, all Atlantic U-boats will operate independently. No coordinated attacks. No Wolfpack formations. Hunt targets of opportunity only. Surface only at night. Maintain absolute radio silence except for confirmed kills. He hands the order to Rösing. The British mathematician wants to turn this into a calculated war? Fine. We will make it random. Let him calculate chaos. April 12th, 1943. 0900 hours. Admiral Horton's office. Horton spreads 3 reports across his desk. ONS-5, SC-127, HX-234. All 3 used offensive routing. All 3 engaged U-boats. Combined casualties: 9 merchant ships lost, 23 U-boats destroyed. Churchill called this morning, Horton says. He wants to know if we have won the Battle of the Atlantic. Have we, sir? Howe asks. Horton looks at him. What do the numbers say? In the last 4 weeks we have run 32 convoys. Standard defensive routing on 24 convoys resulted in 18 ships lost. Offensive routing on 8 convoys resulted in 9 ships lost, but 41 U-boats destroyed. The Germans are losing submarines faster than they can replace them. At this rate, their operational capability collapses within 6 months. Then yes, we have won. Horton leans back, except the Germans know they are losing, which means they will change tactics. What happens when they adapt? We adapt faster. And if they disperse their forces, abandon Wolfpack tactics, operate individually with random patrol patterns? Howe is silent for a moment, then, our system fails. Probabilistic routing depends on predicting concentrated force positions. If the U-boats scatter and go silent, we cannot track them. Empty zones become meaningless because submarines could be anywhere. We are back to random chance. How long until they figure that out? They may already have. Intelligence reports indicate German Naval Command is reviewing Atlantic tactics. If they disperse, our convoy losses will increase again. Not to February levels. But we will start losing ships. Horton nods. So we have a window. 6 weeks, maybe 2 months. Before the Germans adapt and our advantage disappears. What do we do with that window? We kill as many U-boats as we possibly can. Horton stands. Expand offensive routing to 30% of convoys. Maximum aggression. Force the Germans to react so desperately they make mistakes. And you, Sergeant, will calculate every single route personally. Sir, that is 40 convoys per month. I cannot. You will, because you are the only person in this entire military who understands the mathematics well enough to weaponize them. Captain Creary will assign you additional staff, but the final calculations are yours. Howe thinks about SC-122, 716 dead. Thinks about ONS-5, 3 ships lost but 10 U-boats killed. Thinks about 40 convoys per month, roughly 16,000 men whose lives depend on his calculations being correct. Yes, sir. One more thing. Horton's voice drops. The Germans are still bombing London. 3 raids this week, all targeting the Admiralty district. They know you exist. They know you are winning. They want you dead. I will be careful, sir. Careful is not enough. Effective immediately, you will sleep in the Citadel. No trips to the surface except under escort, no predictable patterns. You are now a strategic asset, Sergeant. That means we protect you like one. Howe almost laughs. I am not an asset, sir. I am just a mathematician who got lucky. You are the man who is winning the war. That makes you more valuable than 10 divisions. Dismissed. April 15th, 1943. 2200 hours. Section 8. Howe has been calculating for 14 hours straight. 40 convoy routes, each one unique, each one optimized, each one a decision about who lives and who dies. His desk is covered with maps, probability matrices, U-boat position estimates, weather forecasts. Each route is a puzzle with 100 variables. Each solution sends men into the Atlantic. Thompson approaches with food. You need to eat. I need to finish. You need to sleep. You have been awake for 36 hours. I will sleep when the routes are done. Patrick, you cannot save everyone. Howe looks at her. His eyes are bloodshot. Hollow. I know. I learned that on SC-122. But I can try to save more than I kill. And right now, the mathematics say offensive routing saves 4 lives for everyone it costs. Those are good odds. So I calculate, and I route, and I send men to fight, and some of them die. And I live with it, because the alternative is more men dying for nothing. She sits down. When this is over, when the war ends, what will you do? Howe is quiet for a long moment. I do not think about after. After requires believing I survive, believing the Germans do not kill me, believing I do not calculate wrong and kill another 700 men. After is for people who have futures. I have equations. You have more than equations. Do I? I have not seen sunlight in 3 weeks. I sleep 6 hours per night in a room next to calculating machines. I eat food someone else brings me. I calculate routes that kill people. I am not a person anymore, Eleanor. I am a function. Input, U-boat positions. Output, convoy routes. That is all I am now. You are the man saving thousands of lives. I am the man who killed my brother by calculating routes for the wrong convoys. Everything after that is just trying to balance the ledger. Thompson does not argue. Just sits beside him, silent. After a long moment, she pulls out her own calculations. Starts working. They work together in silence. 2 mathematicians in a basement in London, calculating routes, saving lives, killing submarines, fighting a war with nothing but numbers. Outside, the city sleeps. The bombers do not come tonight. The war continues. And Patrick Howe keeps calculating. Because it is all he knows, all he has, the only weapon he was ever given. April 20th, 1943, 0800 hours, North Atlantic, 51 degrees north, 35 degrees west. Convoy HX-236 is under attack. But something is different. Captain William Morrison stands on the bridge of SS Empire Flame, watching the chaos. 3 U-boats surface simultaneously, launch torpedoes, submerged immediately. No coordinated formation, no radio communication between boats. just independent attacks from different vectors. The escorts respond, depth charges. But the submarines are already gone, scattered, operating alone. SS Warren Harding takes a torpedo, sinks. 42 men dead. But the escorts cannot find the U-boats. They are not hunting in wolf packs anymore. They are ghosts, attacking once, disappearing. Impossible to predict, impossible to counter. Morrison grabs the radio. Flash priority to Admiralty. U-boat tactics have changed, operating independently. No coordinated attacks. Offensive routing effectiveness compromised. The response comes 3 hours later. Acknowledged. Continue present course. Section 8 Evaluating. April 20th, 1943. 1400 hours. Section 8. Howe reads the flash reports. 5 convoys engaged in the last 48 hours. All 5 reported independent U-boat attacks. No Wolfpack formations. No concentrated forces. The Germans adapted. He pulls out probability matrices, recalculates contact distributions, assuming random individual patrol patterns instead of concentrated wolfpacks. The mathematics change completely. Empty zones disappear. Every zone has equal probability. Routing becomes meaningless. Thompson reads the results. We are back where we started. Number, Howe's voice is sharp. We are ahead where we started. In 6 weeks, we killed 84 U-boats. That is 8 months of German submarine production destroyed. They adapted because we forced them to, because continuing Wolfpack tactics meant extinction. We changed the war. But now what? Now we calculate differently. He pulls out fresh paper. If U-boats are operating individually, they cannot concentrate overwhelming force. That means convoys need fewer escorts. We can spread our defensive assets across more convoys, protect more ships with the same resources. You are going back to defensive routing. I am going to distributed routing. Instead of 30% offensive convoys with heavy escorts, we use 100% defensive convoys with moderate escorts. We accept that we cannot kill submarines efficiently anymore, but we can protect more merchant ships. The goal changes from destroying U-boats to preserving logistics. It is less satisfying. Howe almost smiles. War is not supposed to be satisfying. It is supposed to be won. And right now, winning means getting supplies to Britain. If the Germans want to scatter their submarines hunting individual targets, fine. They will sink fewer ships. We will lose fewer men. The mathematics still favour us. Thompson watches him recalculate. You are incredible. I am pragmatic. There is a difference. No, you are both. You see a problem. You calculate a solution. You adapt when the solution fails. You keep people alive using nothing but your brain. That is incredible. Howe sets down his pencil. SC-122 is still incredible to you? SC-122 was a failure, but 18 other convoys succeeded. You saved more lives than you cost. That is what matters. He looks at her. When did you become an optimist? When I met a mathematician who fights wars with pencils and wins. April 25th, 1943, 1800 hours. War Cabinet. Admiral Horton briefs Churchill on the Atlantic situation. German U-boats have dispersed. Wolfpack tactics abandoned. Offensive convoy routing is no longer effective. Recommendation: return to distributed defensive routing with moderate escort ratios. Churchill processes this. So we won the submarine war by forcing the Germans to change tactics. But now we cannot kill submarines efficiently anymore. Correct, sir. But we can protect convoys more effectively. Yes, sir. What are our current loss rates? March losses, 43 ships. April losses, 18 ships. 60% reduction. And German U-boat losses? March, 12 boats. April, 91 boats. Churchill sets down his cigar. 91 submarines in 1 month. Yes, Prime Minister. Sergeant Howe's offensive routing forced the Germans into concentrated battles they could not win. They lost nearly 1/4 of their operational fleet in 4 weeks. They had no choice but to disperse. And now we protect logistics. The goal was never to sink every U-boat. The goal was to get supplies to Britain. We are achieving that goal. The Battle of the Atlantic is not won, but we are no longer losing. Churchill nods slowly. This sergeant, Howe. American? Yes, sir. MIT mathematics graduate, 24 years old. I want to meet him. Sir, he is deeply uncomfortable with recognition. His brother died on convoy SC-122. He blames himself. I do not care if he is uncomfortable. He changed the war. That deserves acknowledgement. April 28, 1943. 1000 hours. 10 Downing Street. Patrick Howe stands in Winston Churchill's office. He has not been above ground in 4 weeks. The sunlight through the windows hurts his eyes. Churchill studies him. You look exhausted, Sergeant. I am, sir. Good. That means you are working. Churchill lights a cigar. Admiral Horton tells me you have reduced convoy losses by 60%, killed 91 U-boats, forced the Germans to abandon wolf-pack tactics. Quite impressive for a man with a pencil. I had help, sir. Section 8 is a full team. I did not ask about Section 8. I asked about you. He leans forward. You calculated routes that saved 18,000 lives in 6 weeks. Do you understand what that means? It means 19,000 would have died on standard routing. Net effect, I saved 1,000. Barely. It means you are winning. Churchill's voice is sharp. Wars are not won by saving everyone. They are won by saving more than you lose. You are doing that. Measurably. Undeniably. Howe says nothing. Your brother, S.S. Benjamin Harrison. Convoy SC-121. Yes, sir. Horton told me. I am sorry. Thank you, sir. Do you blame yourself? Every day. Churchill is quiet for a moment. I have sent 1 million men to war. Thousands have died. I blame myself for every single one. But I keep sending them. Because not sending them means more die later. You understand that calculus? You live it every day. Yes, sir. Then stop punishing yourself. You are doing something no one else can do. You are saving lives with mathematics. That is extraordinary. Accept it. Howe looks at Churchill directly. With respect, sir, I will accept it when the war is over and I can count the final ledger. Until then, I am just calculating and hoping I am right more often than I am wrong. Churchill almost smiles. You are more honest than most generals. I like that. Dismissed. Howe walks out, back to the car, back to the citadel, back to the basement where calculating machines run and men's lives are reduced to probability distributions. Thompson is waiting. How did it go? Churchill called me extraordinary. Are you? Howe sits at his desk, pulls out the next batch of convoy routes. 43 convoys sailing in May. Each one needs a unique path. Each one is a decision. I am a mathematician who learned that numbers can kill people as easily as save them. That is not extraordinary. That is just war. He picks up his pencil, starts calculating. Because the convoys keep sailing, the U-boats keep hunting, and Patrick Howe keeps routing. One convoy at a time, one calculation at a time. One life saved or lost based on whether he gets the equations right. And somewhere in the Atlantic, men sail into danger they do not fully understand, trusting that a mathematician in London calculated correctly, trusting that numbers work, even when war makes no sense at all.